Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me here tonight. A very warm welcome to this special event. My name is Rachel Davies English, and it's my great pleasure to be here tonight to represent the London School of Economics and Political Science, and particularly to have this opportunity to connect with so many talented young people, educational colleagues, and members of the media. Thank you so much for coming. So this event is made possible thanks to the continued generous support of the Stelios Philanthropic Foundation and its patron and LSE alumnus, Sir Stelios Haji-Ioannou. I'm very delighted that Sir Stelios will be joining us virtually in just a few moments. So since their creation in 2005, the Stelios Scholarship has had a transformative effect on the lives of young people from around Greece, Cyprus, and the UK. Sir Stelios' generosity has truly had a life-changing impact, shaping the lives of more than 130 LSE students. And tonight, after almost 30 years of support, the partnership between LSE and the Stelios Philanthropic Foundation is stronger now more than ever before. So tonight we do have quite a bit of ground to cover. So we'll shortly be joined by Sir Stelios himself. Afterwards, you'll have the chance to hear from LSE alumni, including a Stelios scholar, who've been sat right where you are before, who were selected to join the school, and who have returned to Greece in one piece to tell their tale. So they'll share their stories, provide invaluable advice to you, particularly to those who aspire to follow in their footsteps. And then in between our key speeches, I'll be returning to the stage to share more information about how you too can study at LSE, including how our degree programs work, what being a Stelios scholar involves, and then how you can make the best application possible to join us. So before we proceed, just a few notes. So there will be a question and answer section with both alumni and myself just at the end of the presentations. You'll also have the opportunity to speak with us afterwards, so please do stay around. Photos and videos will be taken throughout the event. If there's any issues whatsoever, do just let us know. Fire exits are to the rear of the venue, so please do make your way to the rear if there is a fire. And then finally, do join us for more food and drinks after the presentation. And before we hand it over to the person that makes tonight possible, I'd just like to invite my colleague Martha Forsyth to say a few words about Sir Stelios and the Foundation's long partnership with LSE. Thank you.
Thank you, Rachel, and good evening all. I am Martha Forsyth, Senior Philanthropy Manager at the London School of Economics and Political Science. LSE has a long and exceptionally strong link with Greece and Cyprus, attracting many students across our departments, and many of our graduates have gone on to assume leadership roles in Greek and Cypriot politics, business, academia, and social organisations. We count amongst these prime ministers, foreign and finance ministers, and leading business figures. We're also very proud of our Alumni Association in Greece. It's one of the biggest in absolute terms and one of our most active. This evening, I'm very pleased to welcome Sir Stelios. He is best known as the founder of EasyJet and the creator and owner of the Easy family of brands. Born and raised in Greece, he later travelled to London to study at LSE and graduated in 1987 with a Bachelor of Science in Economics, before beginning his expansive business career as a self-labelled serial entrepreneur. In 2006, Sir Stelios received a knighthood from Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II. In addition to his many business accolades, Sir Stelios is, of course, the founder of the Stelios Philanthropic Foundation. The foundation has spearheaded several philanthropic initiatives supporting entrepreneurship, the environment and education, and of course, the flagship LSE Stelios Scholars Programme in London. In an expression of gratitude for the rich and diverse experience LSE had to offer, Sir Stelios has, for 18 years, supported students with scholarships across numerous educational institutions, including LSE. This support has never been so necessary, and it allows students who are academically excellent to take up their rightful place at LSE and to fulfill their potential as leaders within their communities. LSE has a rich legacy of influence and impact. Established in 1895, the school is a community of people and ideas founded to know the causes of things for the betterment of society. While much has changed since then, one thing has remained constant: LSE's commitment to this original vision. And Sir Stelios' commitment truly embodies our duty to shape lives, and scholarships are an integral part of our mission to educate for impact by creating the next generation of leaders and change makers. Beyond the profound impact that Sir Stelios' generous support has afforded to LSE students and alumni, it has also inspired others to follow in his footsteps. I'm delighted to be here this evening to recognise and celebrate Sir Stelios' impact. Please join me in extending a warm welcome to Sir Stelios.
So I assume you can hear me in Athens. Thank you very much for your kind words. Good evening, everyone, at the Stelios Conference Hall in Plaka. You're only our second event in that conference hall. So welcome. Thank you very much for taking the time to be there. I'm sorry I couldn't be with you in person, but this is the new normal, as you know, since the pandemic. It is quite normal to allow people from outside the room to participate virtually like us. And I'm joined with some of my colleagues and fellow trustees of the foundation from all over the world. So I will take a few minutes to talk about my business. As I like to put it sometimes, you need to know where the money is coming from before you can give it away for a good cause. So although we're here to discuss the scholarships at the LSE, I think it's important to know what is the source of the donations. And then I'll talk a bit about the charity work we do, in particular the scholarships. I'll never forget that in the year, and I have to get this right now, 1982 is when I decided that as a poor little Greek boy, I wanted to go to London and study at the London School of Economics. So I have a feeling there are some people in the room that are now today in a similar position that I was in 1982. And of course, what I did back then is I did my A-levels in parallel with Greek school. And I entered the LSE in 84 and graduated in 87. So in order to understand my business, I suggest we take 7 minutes to watch a video. So I own a company called Easy Group. Easy Group is the creator and owner of the Easy family of brands, the most famous of which is EasyJet, of course. And all these members of the Easy family contribute a royalty to Easy Group for the use of the name. It's a licensing system. And of course, Easy Group donates the majority of its profits to the Stelios Foundation to do the good work you're going to hear about later. To the organizers, can we please play the video?
And this is really the heart of the operation. This is the call center. More than 100 seats, 24 hours a day.
With a successful business and a personal fortune behind him. He believes he can make flying as easy as getting on and off a bus and almost as cheap. He spent £5 million setting up his own airline, starting with the Scottish routes.
We're not just cutting costs, we're doing things differently.
Now, Go isn't targeting EasyJet's routes, but that doesn't stop him from turning Go's launch into a publicity stunt.
Staff at Luton-based rivals EasyJet made a special trip to Stansted today.
To EasyJet, it's a publicity coup.
Needs to go to London to visit a doctor. So I'm giving them 5 tickets for her and the family to go and visit the doctor in London. Να είστε καλά και περαστικά.
Right, I hope you enjoyed the video. The next year, it will be the 30th anniversary of our brand, and I've already started work to produce an edition which is 4 minutes long, because I think 7 minutes is a bit too long. So when you come to the event next year, hopefully we'll have a shorter, more punchy version of the video. So enough about the for-profit side. Let's talk about giving back to society. The next slide, please. My foundation has a mission to give to a very diverse range of causes, but what we call close to home. So we do anything from feeding people who are in need, to giving scholarships to very bright people to go to some of the best schools in the world. But we try to do it close to home. So this map illustrates the places basically where me and my family and my father and my mother have lived and worked. Next slide, please. We have headquarters in 4 cities. One of them is in Athens, not in the building you're in, but in Lopekis in Kolonaki. And then we have one in London, one in Monaco, and one in Nicosia in Cyprus. And we make them available to other charities for free to use for their own events. Next slide, please. A few words about the building you're in now in Plaka. It's a historic property, really. It was built in 1960. At the roof, there is an open-air cinema, which will open again in May 2024 under the management of the Bekhtsis family. So the foundation basically has rented the space to them to operate the historic Cine Paris open-air cinema. So anybody who's in Athens and available around May, June next year should be able to enjoy the space upstairs. In the meantime, the space downstairs was organized, if you like, as a conference hall, and we do make that space available to other charities and good causes to use for their own events, like the London School of Economics today. Next slide, please. So these are some of the charities we do support regularly in Greece, and we've invited all of them, and some of them will be holding their own events this winter in the space you're in now. Some of them, as you know, are very well-known charities in Greece. Others are less well-known, but we try to be diversified. Next slide, please. Our biggest program in Greece is what we call Food from the Heart. Now, many of you who live in Athens may have passed outside one of our distribution centers. But basically what we do is we give 300,000 snacks a month for free to 150,000 people who come and visit our sites and ask for them. Arguably, this is helping the neediest. We're not helping the brightest like we do with the scholarships to the London School of Economics. We're helping the neediest. But there is a time and a place to do that, and I think it's very important. The next slide, please. On the more entrepreneurial side, as you can imagine, I'm an entrepreneur and I'd like to connect with other entrepreneurs. We try to promote job creation. In my view, the best way to help an economy grow, like the Greek economy that, when we started was in a much more difficult place than it is now, is to encourage startups, because the startups create new jobs and the entrepreneurs create wealth for themselves, but also for their employees, their suppliers, their customers. So I think entrepreneurship is a very important way to give back to society. These are the photographs from the event in that very space you're in now in Plaka from September, where we awarded some very worthy companies. I'm sure some of you are aware of Sinobo, the streaming service. And I think they're a very worthy winner that will go places. Next slide, please. This is another example of how we can give When I heard about the train accident in Tempe last February, within 3-4 days, we managed to organize ourselves and we said, we're going to offer to the next of kin of every person deceased at the train accident, 10,000 euros by bank transfer. All they have to do is apply and provide the right paperwork. And within 3 months, there were 57 people who passed away at the accident in Tempe. Within 3 months, we dispersed 570,000 euros to the families of the deceased. You may have noticed that one family got 2 awards. It was a divorced family, but there was one person that didn't have a claim. And we've found out from various sources that it was probably a Syrian refugee with no family in Greece. So can you imagine how tragic is that? You die in a train accident and you have nobody to claim the compensation. Anyway, that's life, but that's an example of how a foundation like ours can act quickly to alleviate a very difficult situation that arose out of an accident. Next slide, please. So let's talk about scholarships. These 3 institutions is basically my academic CV. I went στα Εκπαιδευτήρια Δούκα στην Αθήνα, LSE, and then City University Business School, as it was then. So I decided very quickly, within 10-15 years of graduating, to go back to each school and set up a series of scholarships, which are still going on until today. This is a picture of me looking very serious, trying to predict the oil price at City University in election. The next slide, please. Let's be more specific about the London School of Economics, if I may. One thing I've realized, and I don't know if anybody can help me from the school, if they're listening, but I have not been able to find a picture of myself at the LSE whilst I was a student. I don't know, but that was 84 to 87. So as you can imagine, it was before mobile phones, before selfies, before Facebook, before all of these ways we have now of storing countless images of ourselves. But I have not been able to find a single picture of me as a student. So maybe I wasn't there that often, I don't know. That's another explanation. So these are pictures from subsequent events that happened at the school with the Stelios Scholars of the Year on the left, and when I was invited kindly to give a lecture at the school. Next slide, please. Last but not least, I know that some of you in the room might be too young for LinkedIn, but I think you should start considering about joining. It's a very powerful tool for business networking, but also finding a job. So I think as you build your academic career and then your work career, you should consider joining LinkedIn and then connect with the foundation so you can hear about our events. And I believe that's my last slide. Thank you very much for your time. I'll sit in the background and listen to some of you, and then I'll be quietly excused. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Sir Stelios. So to give a bit of an introduction to the London School of Economics and specifically the LSE Stelios Scholarships, I just want to speak for a few minutes before welcoming our alumni onto stage. So I imagine many of you are quite well traveled, but just in case you haven't visited London before, this is the London Underground tube map. So if you end up studying in the city, you'll certainly get to know this map very well. So LSE is very much right in the heart of the West End. So we're right between Covent Garden and the City of London. So very much right in the middle of where everything is happening. So London is actually ranked first in the world by the QS Best Student Cities and has held that position every year since 2018. So there are 40 universities in London with 600,000 students. So it really is a pretty amazing place to be a student. So LSE is the UK's only specialist social science institution. As previously was explained, so our motto is to know the cause of things, and it was chosen to support the school's founding purpose, which is for the betterment of society. So there are 26 academic departments and institutes at LSE. Those in yellow are graduate-level institutes and departments. However, if you're an undergraduate student at LSE, you can actually sit in on graduate lectures. So we're a university with a global impact. We develop students to become critical investigators, independent thinkers, and then future leaders who go on to shape the world around them. Our academics are active researchers and experts in their fields of study, very much playing a central role in informing different key academic debates. Professor Nicholas Stern, for example, he was the first person in the world to write about economics of climate change. And then behavioral scientist Professor Paul Dolan is an expert on happiness, and particularly in modern technological society. So we have about 12,000 students at LSE, which is considered to be quite small. So we're in one compact central location. So in comparison, there's 12,000 students with us, and then King's College right next door has 40,000 students, and then University College London just up the road has 60,000 students. So in comparison, very small university. That being said, we are one of the most diverse student communities in the world at the LSE. So 60% of our students are from outside of the UK. They're coming to us from over 140 countries and speaking about 100 different languages. And what that means is it really allows for classrooms to be filled with people of differing opinions and backgrounds. It also enables interesting debates and discussions with staff and students, as well as within the student body. We're very proud that 37 world leaders have studied or taught at LSE, so including former Colombian President Juan Manuel Santos, the current President of the European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen, and then the first female and current President of Taiwan, so Ing Wen-sei, so have all studied or taught at LSE. I'm here in Greece, though, so I want to talk a bit about Greece. So we have more than 80 Greek students currently studying at the LSE. We have a very active Hellenic society, which is supported by our students' union. That means, so if you do want to meet other Greeks while you're at LSE, there'll certainly be plenty of opportunities to meet them. So there's also world-leading research and expertise, and our LSE Hellenic Observatory. So what this means is that we are focusing on modern Greek issues at the school. So there'll be perspectives from not only LSE staff, but students looking at things such as finance, economics, law, and politics. And then finally, we have a very active alumni network. Some of them are actually here tonight. So it's very much a great way to network once you are LSE alum. So we're very proud of our graduate outcomes, particularly as we are currently ranked higher than both Cambridge and Oxford. So we tend to have higher starting salaries and are working in better countries than some of the other universities in the UK. And the two universities that are ranked higher than us in this particular survey both teach STEM subjects. So after two different STEM universities, we are third in terms of graduate outcomes and graduate prospects. Also, as an international student, if you study at LSE, either at the undergraduate or the graduate level, you have access to apply for the graduate route visa. So once you've had a degree in the UK, you can stay and live and work for 2 additional years. So that's an option as well. And then in terms of graduate outcomes, about 90% of our graduates are working or in full-time study 15 months after graduating. So again, graduate outcomes are also very positive. About 30% of our students are working in accounting and banking and finance, and that tends to be followed by government, public sector, and public policy, both in the UK and abroad. That being said, you can still absolutely pursue a creative career after LSE. We're actually very impressed that we have a couple of Oscar winners amongst recent alumni. And moving on to focus on studying at LSE. So your academics are experts of the experts. So this means you'll have specialized research-led education. It's your academics who are being sought out as advisors, consultants, and commentators. It's your academic professors who are being on CNN talking about the chances of Donald Trump being reelected, for example. In the UK, and particularly at LSE, you're taught in lectures, classes, seminars, and then there's a fair amount of independent study involved. It's also not just the LSE library, it's the British Library of Political and Economic Science. So it's Europe's largest social science library with over 4 million volumes. And then just finally, there is quite a bit of support for students who are at the LSE. So perhaps you're coming and studying in English for the first time. So LSE Life offers different types of support. So in writing your essays, conducting research and exam revision. We also have a language center. You can take on another modern foreign language while you're studying at LSE. And then we have our disability and mental health services that will look after your well-being while you're a student at LSE. So we offer just over 40 undergraduate degrees at LSE. So if you see an "and" in the degree program, so such as our BSc Economics and Economic History, it means you're studying 50% of one subject and 50% of the other subject. If you see an "and" in the title, so you'll be studying 75% of the first subject and 25% of the second subject. So for example, our BSc Mathematics with Economics. So that's just something to bear in mind. You're tending to focus on 1 or 2 subjects, and that is it in the UK system. So we offer a Bachelor of Arts, Bachelor of Science, and our Bachelor of Law at LSE. It's a 3-year degree program, so you're specializing from day 1. And again, as I mentioned, it's a combination of lectures and classes. So lectures are where everyone from the course is present, and then the class will be usually capped at 15 to 20 students. And that's where you come and kind of discuss what was covered in the lectures and really engage with different topics. You'll be debating, you'll be presenting, so it's really where you're learning a lot about the subject. Something to bear in mind is in terms of contact hours, it's about 8 to 12 hours per week with your lecture. So on top of that, there's a lot of independent study expected in the UK. So about 20 to 30 hours a week of independent study on top of that face-to-face 8 to 12 hours of contact time. You've got outside options as well as at the LSE, so you could do a subject or 2. You can also pick up, again, a modern foreign language. And then finally, there is the opportunity to study abroad as part of your degree. Speaking a bit about the Stelios Scholarship, so it's aimed specifically at empowering talented students and supporting the development of a highly talented workforce. So starting for September 2024 entry, there are going to be 5 scholarships each year. So with a total of £255,000, so it's £17,000 per year per student. So normally that's for 3 students normally resident in Greece and 2 students normally resident in Cyprus. and it's for a 3-year degree program with a preference for students studying in the subject areas of economics, finance, and management. While you're an LSE scholar and as an LSE scholar alum, there's alumni and networking events, being a scholar. And then in terms of applying for the scholarship, once you've applied to LSE, from January to the end of April, you can submit your application via our financial support office. So as long as you get your financial support application in by the 20th of April, you'll be considered for the Stelios Scholarship. So it's just worth noting that not all degrees at LSE are eligible for funding through the Stelios Scholarships. So students who started with us in September 2022-23, 18 different degrees were considered. So these are preferred degrees in terms of Stelios Scholars. So depending on the candidate pool, though, awards may be made on other 3-year LSE degree programs. So, but for further information and confirmation of those degree programs where you'll have consideration will be available on lse.ac.uk/Stelios. So that was very much a quick whistle-stop tour of LSE, but at this point I would like to invite 2 former LSE students up to have a chat with me about their experiences here at LSE. So Dimos Anagastopoulos is a former Stelios alum, and then Maria Sarantopoulou, former LSE student as well. Very quick introduction to both of them. So Dimos studied economics and environmental policy with the Stelios Scholarship. He then went on to study macroeconomics and econometrics to Tufts University in Boston to do a master's degree, where he focused on statistics and data analysis. And then he has worked as a data scientist and a data engineer previously in Philadelphia. He has come back recently to Greece to help introduce different capabilities in the Greek economy. He's been now at Danaos Software in Praeus building fuel consumption models and commercial software for the shipping industry. Very quick intro. And then Maria is an elected member of the Hellenic Alumni Association. So she's an LSE graduate from the MSc in Public Policy and Administration. She's worked in the European Commission in Brussels in the spokesperson's service, which is operating under the political leadership of the president, being the youngest ever press officer. She has also worked as European Commissioner speechwriter and political coordinator for migration and home affairs in the relevant Directorate General, having successfully undertaken the demanding Commission's EPSO exams. I'm going to open up to some questions, though. They have very amazing CVs, and I could probably be up here for another 5 minutes telling you how great they are, but I'm going to move on and to answer, have them answer a couple of questions that we have.
Hello?
Okay. We're okay.
So first question for both of you, why did you choose LSE?
Okay, I will start. So why did I choose LSE? First of all, when I graduated from school, I didn't have in mind, to be honest, to study in a university in the UK. But as I was working and studying in Greece and learning from friends, and in general also from family who had studied at LSE, everybody had a unique experience to share, and also everybody managed to achieve the goals of his or her professional life. When I started searching about LSE, I was finding very interesting, first of all, the motto of this university. So knowing the causes of things, which it's very close to my personality. And also, it attracted me a lot, the fact that when it was established, it was one of the unique universities that was pursuing equality, so it was open to men and women. So you could see its values from its core, from when it was born. So for me, this was very important, and also the fact that apart from a very strong academic background that you could get at LSE, the mission that it has to create an association of students that really will bring an impact to the world. That was for me very important. And this you could see, because just now you presented a few personalities that have graduated. And so from that, having them as an example, I said, okay, this is the university that I want to try. And I have to tell you that this is the only university that I applied for, because I said, okay, this is what matches my profile and what will also match the career that I wanted to pursue further.
Yeah, hello. So I was much younger. I was like 16 years old because I went there for my undergrad when I made the choice to go to the LSE. And, you know, when you're 16 years old, basically you're a product of your family, I would say. So, yeah, so, I mean, my father also had studied in London, not at the LSE. So maybe that was like also, you know, in our family, like I think that the LSE is just so good of a goal to attain at some point. When it was implicit, you know, it wasn't verbally expressed, but, you know, I felt that it would be insane if I went there, you know, when I was so young also. So it was like, it was nothing to think about. It was like, I'll apply. So I went to the IB, and then I applied at the LSE, Warwick, and Bath, and a few other places, UCL, a few other places. And yeah, I also wanted to go to London, right? So I didn't want to go to, you know, too far away from London, because I would have all my friends from school there, which was very important for me. And you know, living in London, it's you know, it's better than living in a forest, I think. Anyway, especially when you're younger. And so yeah, so when I got accepted, so they made the offer. Then when I reached the grades that I had to get, you know, I went back to my home, and you know, the reaction, the energy with my parents was like, this is crazy. So yeah, so then I accepted the offer, and I went there with all my friends who went to other universities in London, you know. So it was like a fairy tale, you know. Yeah.
Did you always know that you wanted to study in the UK, Dimas?
Yeah. So yeah, because I want. Yeah, I mean, there's no other in Europe. I wouldn't go to Germany. I wouldn't go to France. I wouldn't go to Italy. Like living in Greece, the first, you know, if you want to live Greece, you go to London. I mean, especially 15 years ago. I mean, I don't know if I was now young what I would think, but you know, you go to London or the US. Like these were the examples that I had. You know, many people go to Singapore now or something like. You know, so. So the comparison, US was kind of out of the story because it was too far and we had no connections with, like, with the US. So yeah, the dilemma was Greece or UK, and since there were possibilities to go to the UK, including the scholarship, right, and my parents were willing to put also some money. In fact, I was accepted in Greek universities without examinations because I was a champion in sailing. So I had like a free pass for Greek universities, but still I was like, I don't care, I want to study and go to do better than that. So yeah.
What was it like to be a student in London at the LSE?
Okay, being a student in London, I think it's really an experience. Because, first of all, it's a lovely city. And it's also a city that you can have also many cultural activities. They have many museums. They have also very nice events if you're a fan of music. Or in general, you can find anything that you wish for. You're close to home if you're living in Greece. You can also find many, many students from all over the world. Now, studying at LSE, I think it it's really like, you know, it's like being in a bubble, but in a bubble that it's not outside of the real world, because you know, LSE has, first of all, great facilities. I remember now this library. I saw the library, and I said to Dimos, I remember we were sleeping at this library night and days. You can find people from all over the world. I was in my course, I was the only Greek one, and the other students, they were from all over the world, even from the US, which I found it really extremely challenging and attractive, actually, at the same time, because normally I was expecting to find students from Europe, and they were from the US, from Asia, from all over the world, with different backgrounds. But all of them, and all of us, actually, I would say that we all had the curiosity to learn the one from each other. And I think this is very important in such universities. The multicultural approach is very important. And of course, gaining a strong academic background, the professors were great. They were always close to you. If you had a question, questions about even, because I remember, for example, when I did the dissertation, I wasn't sure about which topic to take. And the professors are not far from the market outside, because you need to do also something to find a job in the market afterwards, not only about living the life in London and in the university. And they know what the market needs. For me also, this was the ticket to get into the European Commission straight ahead. I think this is very important, so to enjoy your life, to be happy in university, to get the knowledge that you want and that really completes you, but also at the same time, so that you can also afterwards go into the market and find a good job, and start with a good job. And I think also this is quite important, because the younger generations today have greater expectations than us. And I believe that LSE can give you the ticket, the pass, to start closer to the higher expectations that you may have compared to other universities.
Same question for you. So what was it like to be a student? I know it was a bit of time ago, but what was it like for you?
So what was it like to be a student? So first of all, I want to say that the environmental policy with economics that you mentioned, the with, you can make it an and by choosing the right options. So, you know, sometimes you may choose strategically how to get in, how to apply. So if you see a course that requires 36 points in the IB, that is with economics, let's say, and another one that is and economics that requires 38, I think it's smarter to go for the 36 so that you get in, and then you choose. So I chose macroeconomics, microeconomics, econometrics, European economic policy, math, statistics. So that's 6 out of the 12 courses. So that's 50%, right? Economics, and the rest was environmental policy. So I mean, I was interested in environmental policy, but because I met also all these friends from Greece, I didn't meet so many foreign people when I was in London. I did that when I went to Boston later. I met many Indians and many non-Greeks. And when I was in London, basically I met people from Greeks that were outside my school, so from a different school, who were also in London. But they really inspired me, so I have to give it to them. Like everybody became very passionate about economics. It was crazy. It was like on the second year, third year, like all the discussions were about game theory and econometrics and macroeconomics and microeconomics and contracts and organizations my other friends were talking about. I was more focused on econometrics, so it became really like, it was so motivating. Like, you know, sometimes you felt that you don't know enough and you felt, you know, I gotta try more only to keep up with my friends, not even to keep up with the institution. I mean, you know, so you're gonna meet great people there, as you would, of course, you're gonna do that. Select the right people also, and and then go to the library and study. But also, I met people who were not into economics. So I had two groups of friends in London. So I mean, the people that surround you are everything. especially in the earlier ages. Later you have direction, you can go with less support, but still you need it. But the point is that, so I had the economics friends and the other Greek friends that were from my school who were also supportive in terms of relaxing and spending time together in London, and they opened up my social life as well. So, you know, you need the social skills and the quantitative skills in my field, which is more econometrics. So, you know, so I studied a lot. So the main thing I want to tell you is that I became very motivated. Like when I left the LSE, I spent like 6 months studying on my own economic history for no reason. I did an internship in City as a trader for no reason. Just I wanted to learn more macroeconomics. I wanted to learn economic history. I was like, there's so many things I don't know. And then I went to the US just to learn all these things that I felt I was missing. So the main thing is that it's very motivating. It doesn't matter if you learn everything there. Just pick up the things that you need to know. You can even learn them later. Like last year, I was rereading all my master's time series course, for example, again and again later. So, yeah.
Were either of you involved in any clubs or societies while you were a student?
Yes, yes. When I was a student, we have also actually Thodoris here. He's from he's the chairman of the Hellenic Alumni Association here, and we were together at that time in the Hellenic forum that we have created, and we're very active. And we prepared also for the first time a paper with reforms for Greece, and this was supported by the biggest newspapers in Greece, by Καθημερινή, and internationally. And also we had great personalities coming to this event. We organized it for the first time ever. We were just a small group of students. And we had this craziness. Okay, we said, we're studying, we're in different sectors, all of us. But then we said, okay, but we need to do something. And we just, all together, we gathered in an evening with a drink and said, okay, let's do that. And I think this was very successful. And okay, now, as said, here in the Hellenic Alumni Association of Greece, I'm the Secretary General, Thodoris is the Chairman. We have also George Michalas, who is a member and our legal advisor. And this is also, and I want to highlight that the network that this university creates is very, very important. This association that we have in Greece is one of the biggest and more active international. I think you can confirm that. And this is very important because, again, you graduate from university, but you don't want to lose your connections with this. So to have an association in Greece or wherever you are living afterwards, because I was also a member in Brussels, to have this association here, it's really very important because you can really, everything that you have gained before, you can find people with common attitude, common values to share, so you don't lose that. You have LSE really in your life for a long, long time.
Were you in any clubs or societies?
Yeah, so I think we had this informal society of economists that I told you, but it was really serious. It was really motivating. Then I used to go to the Stelios events, and we used to talk. And I remember Stelios was also there, and we were remember having debates whether it's more important to go for knowledge or go for money. Like we had these kind of conversations, and it was one of the better moments also of the years that I was there. I remember that meeting, going back home and being like, okay, that was really stimulating. I went for sailing, but no, I wasn't as involved as other people in terms of clubs, officially, at least.
Demos, for you, how has being a Stelios scholar changed your life?
Yeah, so first of all, the money makes you, gives you the opportunity. So I think you can stay in a better place in London, you know, closer to the center. Otherwise, I would have to live far away to pay less rent, I guess. For the second and third year, I stayed in Marylebone, for example, with another student. And you know, having money, you can stay closer. You don't have to work I mean, you know, I had money from my parents as well, but, you know, maybe I would need to work in a coffee or in a library or something like that. So, you know, if you can avoid that so that you have more time to spend with the people that are going to have a very positive impact, academically at least, is a good opportunity. So, but other than the monetary thing, it's also, you know, after I finished LSE and I went to the US and I really developed an expertise in computer science later and more statistics and things like that and machine learning. And then I came back 2016 to Monaco to meet Stelios and all the other scholars. And we were talking about giving back and all of these things. I mean, that was not the only reason, but during that time, the urge to come back to Greece started. So in 2016-17, when I was still working in Philadelphia, I thought that it would be a good idea to come back to Greece and you know, talk about these technical capabilities that help economies in Boston and in other places of the world grow, and you know, make the Greek economy improve a little bit. You know, 1 divided by 10 million, of course, you know, it's my proportion. But I'm just saying, so, I mean, this spirit of giving back, I mean, it gives you a purpose in your life, and it gives meaning. So, and that's what I'm experiencing still right now. So, I mean, we're sharing this. I don't give money, I give my time, but yeah.
It's all an investment.
Yeah.
Okay, just one last question. Any advice for those hoping to study at LSE?
So, any advice? I would say that, first of all, check all the courses, all the classes, because you can find many that are close to your interest. Now you have even more and even more when I see that. I would say that really enjoy the time that you are there. Try not only to study hard, but to harness this opportunity. So for me, I really would advise you to be a member of associations, of clubs, of meeting people, Greeks for sure, but also outside of Greece, because I think this is something that you won't live again in your life, okay, unless you work somewhere internationally, but still. Enjoy everything that LSE gives you, and also for your professional career, try to attend all the trainings that you do. I find them very useful, because quite often, I remember, and I believe you're still doing that, experts from a variety of sectors were coming and speaking about their jobs, about their professions. This is very important. Try to do that, because you see what's going on in the market, and I'm sure that with some of them you will feel close and closely associated, and you will have them as an example in your life. Listen to the professors, which are really great. I mean, I believe the professors are, as I said also before, they know what the market needs. And they are really, at least with the ones that I studied, they're really very close to the students. And don't forget, after that, to come to our society in Greece, to our association, because we're also doing a lot of things. So really enjoy, but also study hard for sure, but also harness the opportunity of being a member of such a multicultural society, which really has a value, has a history, but also can give you all the necessary knowledge to make an impact in the future.
Same for you.
The same. So I am very biased in favor of data science. I'm like a fanatic. So I would urge you to study data science. So because, you know, it's like it's economics on steroids, you know. So I mean, I know that everybody's going to have their own interests, of course. I'm just saying that, you know, it's 3 years. I know it's too, if you want to go for an undergrad, it's too early in your life to start working from 21, I think. So, I mean, for the undergrad, I'm not sure that they should just pick skills to go immediately to the job market. If you're doing a master's, you know, I think starting working at 24, 25, that's what I did at least. I think it's healthier than 21. But anyway, everybody has their own thing. But if you want to start working, you have 3 years to just pick up all the skills for free. I mean, in terms of, you have all the time to do it. So at least do your research in terms of what does the job market want and learn those skills. And I'm telling you that these skills are very technical in nature, especially if you want to be an entry-level you know, college grad in finance or in tech. You learn programming, like things like that. Like, so especially for these, I mean, you're giving scholarships for econometrics and all the quantitative is what I'm seeing. So yeah, so if you want to do that, you have to learn programming. So geared towards computer science. Okay.
Thank you both very much. I'm going to just finish by talking about admissions, but then we will have Q&A, and you'll also be able to ask both of them questions. So thank you very much. Do you mind staying here? I'll quickly get through the rest of my slides, and then we'll open to Q&A. Thank you so much, though. So just finishing the presentation by covering kind of admissions and application information to the school. So just in case you're not aware, so one application system, so via UCAS, Universities and Colleges Admission System. So you select up to 5 choices. We would strongly suggest that you pick just one course at LSE. Now, it doesn't matter where else you apply to, so perhaps you're also applying at Oxford and Cambridge, and so your application comes to us in early October. That's no problem. We're just looking for the best students. We're not biased whatsoever. So yeah, you can submit your application anytime between September and then the end of January. So as long as you submit your application during that time, you get equal consideration by admission selectors. So what are we looking at? So we're looking at your grades that you've achieved up to the point of applying. We're looking at your personal statement. And then we're looking at your teacher's reference. Now, at LSE, we don't interview for any of our degree programs. So that's why the personal statement is so important for us. So there isn't an additional test for most programs at the LSE. So the only exception is our LNAT, for our LLB in law, so our Law National Admissions Test. So do ensure you're taking the LNAT between September and December, the year prior to starting your degree program in law. Okay, so as we don't interview, the personal statement is really, really important to the LSE. So you have 47 lines to tell us about yourself. So we always suggest spending about 75 to 80% of the time on kind of academics, and then 20 to 25% of the time remaining on extra or supercurricular activities. So this is where you should talk about why you've applied to a specific degree program, perhaps what you've studied up to the point of applying. I'll go into a bit more detail too and kind of expanding on that, but then the other 20 to 25%, those extracurricular and supercurricular activities, don't just list those. So if you're the head of a debate team or Model UN, perhaps you can debate a certain issue, so that would be quite suitable if you're studying politics or law. So just bear that in mind. If you are, say, the captain of something, obviously that will demonstrate some good teamwork skills, but think about some of the skills that you've gained that would make you a great student in the classroom at LSE. So our entry requirements will vary depending on the degree program. So we have a web page for each of our degree programs, so 42 web pages. So our typical offer will be A-star AA down to AAB for the A level, and then the IB is 38 to 37, and then 766 down to 666 at higher level. Again, with the European Baccalaureate, we accept an 88 to 80, and the Greek Lectio with the Panhellenic examinations we accept, but you do need to do then 2 GC A-levels as well. And with those A-levels, we'd want an A-star A down to AB, depending on the degree program. So if you're interested in applying for a quantitative degree, so that would be in our departments of accounting, economics, finance, mathematics, we do have specific math grades and requirements. So we're looking for maths at a higher level at the IB, we're looking for a maths A level. Any questions though, we do have that information on each webpage, and I'm also happy to help if you have any queries. So we're often asked, how do we decide? So we get more applications than we have places on our degrees. So for us, it's not just about the grades. So we're looking at every part of your application holistically. So the grades you've achieved up to the point of applying. We're also looking at the reference from your counselor. We're looking at if you've done a test, so test scores. But again, the personal statement. So how are you going to demonstrate a genuine enthusiasm for the subject and an alignment of interests? So what have you done perhaps outside of your curriculum? So outside of your IB, your A-levels, have you listened to a podcast, watched a TED Talk, gone on a school trip? We're not prescriptive. We want to find out more about you. So tell us about this particular idea, this event. Tell us what it was about. Tell us what you thought about it and why. And that really demonstrates to our admission selectors an independence of thought. Again, it doesn't have to be a 300-page long book. It could be quite a small 6-page journal article. We're really flexible, but we want to know what you thought about it and why. And that really kind of indicates that you're thinking about the degree program outside of what you have to do as part of your curriculum. And then just finally, going over fees and living costs. So for students starting in September 2024, so tuition fees will vary from £26,184 to £28,176 per year. And then we estimate that living costs are about £1,300 to £1,500 per month. So that obviously depends on your lifestyle, and if you're cooking every meal for yourself, if you're going out for every meal, if you're shopping at Harrods versus shopping at Primark. So you are eligible to do part-time work on your visa studying in the UK as well. So you can work for up to 20 hours a week during term time and 40 hours a week outside of term time. And then there's loads of discounts being a student, so on travel, on like the campus gym, so lots of like discounts, stores, both in store and online, cinemas and museums, they're discounted or free in some cases. And then there is support available also through the financial support application. So any bursary or scholarship you're eligible for, you will be considered for with that one application that you submit. So perhaps you're submitting with the hope of becoming a Stelios Scholar awardee. You'll also be considered for other scholarships as well with that one application. So that concludes the presentations for the evening. So I have my colleagues Martha and Daisy here for any questions for the next 15 minutes or so, and then we'll open for drinks, and we'll be available after too if you have any questions.
Test. Questions?
Any questions at all for the alumni, for myself?
Thank you. Just regarding the different societies and clubs, how does the application for those happen once you enter enter LSE? Like, is there a new application form you have to have, or is it automatic membership?
So in the first week that you're on campus, it's referred to kind of as Welcome Week. So lots of the clubs and societies will have events throughout the course of the week, and it's often kind of something that you submit online directly to them. There might be a membership fee as well. In terms of like kind of competitive sports, for example, so we have like more of a competitive football team, and then we have a more casual football team. So you may have to try out for some of the different kind of athletic clubs.
if I may add to this, so you just go to the university and you start looking what you're interested for. You ask about them and you will find it. So there is a variety of societies, and most of them also, they come to you actually. So I think they will find you.
We have about 250. If there's something in particular you're really interested in that actually doesn't already exist at LSE, the Students' Union will give you money to set up a club or society too. So we have a cheese and wine society, but I think we have a Pokemon society. But yeah, so if there's something out there that you're really interested in that isn't already at LSE, we'll give you money to start it. And so you can have other students join you as well.
But indeed, just to add that the societies, I believe, are really a very useful tool that you provide. So indeed, go and look for them and try to be associated. This is very, very useful.
Can I add something?
Absolutely.
Yes. So you can also check out meetup.com. It's a website that when I was in Boston and in London, I'm sure a lot of people who are involved in coding and all sorts of technical kind of skills. They go there and they meet and they maybe build projects together, like for the community and for the society for free. They volunteer and they build software together. So you can go outside the university as well, right?
So
if you want to.
LSE is also part of the University of London, so that's a group of 16 universities in London, so you can actually kind of attach to societies at other universities as well. Our closest University of London university is King's, and then University College London, so yeah. In addition to our 200 to 250 societies, you have access to all those other university societies as well.
Hello. In order to apply for the scholarships, you need to pass via financial support. Did I understood correctly?
So to apply for the scholarship, you need to have applied for a place at LSE. So as long as you submit your application by the end of January, and then you will be able to submit your financial support application from January up until the end of April. So the 28th of April will be the application deadline.
So it's based on income, not on academic criteria, correct?
It's a combination. So we're looking at, it's not just it's a cross-section of eligibility.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
I've read on your website that tests such as the test of mathematics for university assessment help strengthen our application. How far does that help secure a spot in a quantitative subject field in LSE?
So the test, the TMUA, this year is currently the last year it's running. So we don't know if there'll be a similar test that is rolled out for September 2025 entry, for example. So where students are doing maths at a higher level or maths and a further maths at A level, we wouldn't necessarily suggest that a student takes the TMUA on top of the qualifications that they're already completing. Our Department of Mathematics does like to look at the results for the TMUA, but as the TMUA is no longer in existence after, the test for this year was in October, so it can help. But I would say, speaking to students who are doing A-levels, IB, US high school diploma with APs, I would say, I think that you're probably already quite well suited. It's really maybe demonstrating your suitability in the personal statement.
Okay, thank you.
The lady.
Hi, thanks. So you mentioned a few courses that are being sponsored by the Stelios Scholarship, and you said for the other ones, they might be considered. Would you mind expanding a little bit on that? And my second question was, I assume people who are for entry to 2024 September need to apply by this January. Obviously, for people who are interested, it's the next year round, isn't it?
Yes, okay. That's correct. So there were 18 programs that were considered for Stelios scholarship funding for students who started with us in September. So I'll just put those back up on the screen. So where there are students who are not necessarily studying those degree programs and there's still funding available, then the Stelios Foundation may consider those subjects for consideration for the scholarship. So what we say is we're looking for students studying economics, finance, and management. We're not specifically saying within the Department of Economics, Management, and Finance, because again, there's joint programs between economics, geography, management, mathematics. So this is the general 18 programs that they're usually considering students for. However, if there's more interest in the funding and students are eligible, then they will still kind of expand it. I can't kind of confirm for September 2024. If they're going to, it'll just depend on students applying for the scholarship. We have a Stelios scholar currently with us who is, I believe, in their second year at LSE. They are studying law, but just to bear in mind, it does tend to be more economics, finance, management focused. And for, so if you're interested in applying for entry in September 2025, as long as you submit your application between September 2024 and January 2025, you'll get equal consideration. And then that's at the point you also apply for the Stelios scholarships from the end of January to the end of April. Did you have a question back there?
I have a question for the alumni. What is the biggest challenge you faced during your time at LSE?
Yeah, so, I mean, it's very difficult. It's very difficult. Like, you have to be very smart. So, I'm not saying that I am. I'm saying that in order to get a first, for example, in microeconomics, let's say, like 72%, like, it's not a matter of studying. It's just, you know, they grill you. It's like, so, yeah, that's the most challenging thing. And so also I mean, if you're strategic and you study throughout the whole year, maybe it will be better, you know, because you only have exams, I think it's still the case, only in May, or no?
So there are some so LSE refers to the year in the new terms as opposed to like semesters. So in the first term, you might have like one-term courses, but many are year-long. So mathematics will do some like...
Yeah, so for a year-long course, you only get tested in May. So, you know, many people start studying in February. And if you do that, you won't get a first, I'm afraid. So, if you want to get a first, anyway.
Yeah, there are a lot of year-long courses with an exam at the end, May, June. So it's about kind of revising as you're carrying on throughout the year and not waiting until the last minute.
So just to add on this, okay, obviously, it's not very easy. You're studying in a very good university, in one of the best in the world. But for me, I will give you a short advice, if I may. Try to turn the challenge into an opportunity, because as it will be about you, it was about us, it is for everybody there, for the other students as well. Even if they are from different backgrounds, or from the US, from another country, from another family, from another school, whatever, they all have the same issue. So the good thing is that you gather together and the one helps each other. Then you have the library. You have to use the library. So to try to make any difficulty that you have, to make it an opportunity for you. But I'm sure you and everybody will manage through that. We all did that.
Don't have to study. I mean, there's people study in groups, others study alone, right? I study alone, for example.
Yes, but it depends.
No, I'm not saying no. I'm saying that other people study in groups.
It depends,
if you are not one of them who study in groups, studying groups won't work for you. I'm just saying. Yeah.
In any case, you will find your own way. For me, sharing is important. It helps. When you share, it helps. Because you're all at the same position. This is what I was saying.
Exactly. Any other questions? So we will be available, and we have a lot of food that we would love you to eat. So if you do have any individual questions for us, please don't hesitate to come up to us. Thank you so much for coming this evening. Thank you so much to our alumni for
Thank you.
sharing their time and their experience. Yes, thank you so much.